The Gina and Matty podcast.
Some good TV rolling around at the moment, some ordinary TV as well. There's a show on Channel 7 that's coming in, Made in Bondi, and that just looks horrific. Like just a bag of... I don't get around the block much. The Voice, I can tune in and out of. I like the blinds. When
I like the blinds
and then
as
it
well.
it's a bit boring for me.
Yeah.
But the ABC is pumping out some great stuff at the moment. I stumbled across this show, and it doesn't get heaps of press, so I thought I'd talk about it. I binged a couple of the episodes last night. Now, it's a new documentary series introducing us to a diverse group of autistic people who are interested in pursuing journalism. Now, I first looked at it and I went, oh gosh, is this like another cringy reality TV show using autistic people to sort of entertain neurotypical people? And it is very much not that. Lee Sales has taken a group of students under her wing and is introducing them into the world of journalism. This is the intro to the TV show The Assembly on the ABC.
For the first time in Australia, autistic students are undertaking an autism-friendly introduction to a journalism course.
They will attend classes at university and be mentored by one of Australia's best journalists.
This is the chance to work with people who haven't really had a voice in media and to help them kind of figure out how to do it their way.
1 in 40 Aussies are on the autism spectrum, and it's time for those voices to be included in national conversations.
To test their skills, the students will interview some of Australia's most famous people.
To get behind the spin to find the real person.
Who's the best looking person you've ever kissed?
What's it like standing up for yourself?
What does confidence mean to you?
What was it like meeting your dad for the first time?
That's questions that I've never got before.
We are the Assembly!
And it is brilliant. Having autistic family members, I know that the guests walking into this room, sitting down in that hot seat, could be asked absolutely anything.
Yeah.
So it is fascinating viewing. So some of the people who are being interviewed by this group of students, you got the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, Adam Goodes from the Swannies, Delta Goodrem, Amanda Keller, Hamish Blake. I'm going to play a little bit of Hamish in a sec, but Anthony Albanese, the PM, was in there, and this is a little intro that he got.
Hello, Prime Minister. We are a collective of autistic journalists and we are delighted to have you join us here today. Our rules are no subject is out of bounds, no question is off the table and anything might happen. So sit back and welcome to the Assembly.
Thanks very much.
Brilliant. So they're in a classroom, they're just sitting on some chairs, sitting around in a circle, and they pass the microphone around. Lee Sales, who former host of 7:30 Report, she's facilitating it. She works between the students, getting them to pass the microphones around. And here's a range of the questions that were fired at Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
Welcome, Prime Minister. I'd like to say this is a safe space.
How do you deal with social media when it takes what you've said out of context?
You went to see Taylor Swift.
I did.
I'm just going to ask you, what sort of Taylor Swift era are you in?
How did you meet your fiancé? How did she know she was the one?
Do you like it when people call you DJ Elbow?
Who is the meanest Prime Minister you've met?
I think that'll be easy for him.
ScoMo.
I'm not going to go there because I'm going to be nice.
ScoMo.
On this program. It's fair to say I haven't got on with all Prime Ministers over the years.
Kind of thought not. Have you and Scott Morrison ever fight?
We don't have the best relationship, it's fair to say.
See?
But I respect the office of Prime Minister. He recently dropped in a copy of his book to me that I thought was kind of him. Here in this country, we often don't, compared with somewhere like the United States, we don't give a role to former Prime Ministers. We don't respect them often, I think, enough. So I certainly, we have our differences, but I respect the fact that he, like everyone who's held the job, does the best according to their own values.
I thought he answered that really well, Albo. It is such a brilliant show, and these students are fantastic. Hamish Blake was the episode. I watched both those episodes last night, and we were talking about the Powerball earlier, the $100 million. We were talking about the world's oldest woman before as well, who passed away this week at 117. So I thought this clip that I play you here is quite fitting for that. Hamish was talking to the students, and they asked him about people he's interviewed, and probably the most profound thing that he's learnt from someone that he has spoken to.
You've interviewed a lot of people over the years. What answer to a question has most changed your perspective on life?
Ooh, really good. The first one that jumps into my head is we had Richard Branson on the show, and one of the guys on our radio show, Jack, he basically said to Richard Branson, he was like, "You are a billionaire. Can we just go downstairs to the ATM? Just give you $1,000. Like, just give you, like, it's nothing to you, and it's like, this would change my month." In the response to that, Richard Branson was like, "I'll tell you, there's something I'll give you all my money for." And Jack's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, your age." Ooh. And so we're like, that's interesting. And I remember hearing that, and I'm like, Jack's 22, and we're like, "What do you mean by that?" And he's like, "I would happily be broke and 22 than a billionaire and 68 or whatever it was at the time." And that's always stuck with me, because I'm like, that's true. And I think that would be true for all of us, especially as you get older and you're like, okay, like money's a thing in life. It's a tool that it can certainly take some bad situations, like some discomfort away, but it's not happiness. And it's nowhere near the exhilaration of getting to live, and all the best stuff is for free. And I think that's what he was talking about. I think about that all the time. I'm like, whatever age we're at, like if we're 90, and let's say we have $10 million and we're 90 years old, of course we'll give $10 million to go back to be 40. Like that. Of course you would.
You wouldn't want your children to inherit it?
No. No. Good question. Good question. But as they saw me zooming back in time, they're like, "Where's our money?" I'll be like, "Make your own." That always stuck with me, that idea that, like, we've got something immediately available to us that in the future we would give all our material possessions for.
It's fascinating viewing. It is incredible. It's on ABC iView. The episodes go for about 45 minutes, so if you're looking for something that isn't rubbish on television and something to watch over the weekend, it's The Assembly on ABC iView.
Gina and Matty.
So I've got some advice to get old, to live a really, really long time, because this week, the oldest lady in the world, she lived to 117. Sadly, she passed away on Tuesday.
God. Hopefully it's not her advice then.
No, 117. So
no, thanks. Just quietly, no thanks.
Yeah, how old would you like to get to?
Oh, God, I don't know. If you'd asked me maybe 20 years ago, it would have been a very different question.
Really?
I don't think... as long as I'm doing everything on my own still, that's okay. If I'm a burden on my family,
Yeah.
Say like that, I don't want that. I don't want the kids to be like, "Oh, God, this is really depressing. We don't want to see Dad like this."
Yeah.
Like,
And what do you do in your life to sort of make sure you're going to be healthy as you get older? You exercise a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't. I do what I want to, how I want to be today and tomorrow. Like I'm not like people, because I've done a lot of ultra marathons and I've run long distances, and people go, "Oh, what about your knees? Aren't you worried about your body later?" And I'm like, what am I going to need my knees for when I'm 90? Like I'm not going to be able to run 100 kilometres when I'm 90. I can do that now. So why not do that now? And then but that's I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday, I guess.
Oh, that's nice.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, well...
so I'm just going to pour a scotch right now.
Well, Emma Morano was her name, and she lived to 117. And her secret is a bit weird. So I thought, to be healthy, you should exercise and eat well, and like make sure you're eating all the colours, the bright fruit and vegetables and stuff. Been a lot of TV shows on lately with looking into old age. There was one with Ray Martin recently, and I think one with Tracy Grimshaw. They're putting up all the secrets and stuff to live in old age. They should have just gone and seen Emma, because her advice, it's very simple. She ate really plain and weird. She ate 3 eggs a day. 2 raw and 1 cooked.
Well, I think when you get to that age, you've got no taste anyway.
Do it.
It's just dry toast, isn't it? It's like you can't taste anything.
And mainly bananas. So I don't know how her was going for her, but that was her secret. But the main thing she thought that might be the reason that she lived so old was she was married for 50 years, and when her husband passed away, like a long time ago, she's 117, she decided to stay single, and she thinks living a single life...
Do you reckon that was a choice?
I don't know.
Although those nursing homes, I've heard, are pretty hives of activity.
I have heard some stories about that for off air that I heard as well. Oh, my goodness.
But 117, like that means like she could have lost her children if she had any. I'm not sure if she did, but like a long time before she even got there, you know, like that's a lot. 117.
That's a long.
Oh,
and what is your life like? But the things that she's seen in her life, if you think about that, so early 20th century, she saw cars get invented, planes, telecommunication. She saw World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, the Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement. She saw man land on the moon.
I thought you were going to say she saw Manly lose to the Tigers. I don't actually think she made it. I think she just missed out on that.
She just missed it. The fall of the Berlin Wall, the 9/11 attacks and the GFC, but probably I think the hardest thing, imagine a 117-year-old wrapping her head around technology, phones, smartphones, all the stuff that goes on these days, but social media. Or do you think she was on social media?
She'd definitely be doing TikTok dances. She's done the apple dance for sure. She's been doing it. She threw her hip out when she was trying to get her hands up and down.
The Gina and Matty podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.